I'd like to know the answer to this question from all of you. The place where you've been most surprised to run into a fan of the show, because I'm always surprised at the reach of some of this and have been for a long time. Australia, we have a big following, and the one that surprised me the most, although when it was explained to me, I understood it better, our show's very popular in the Philippines, and it's because of Eric Spoelstra. It's because of everything that happened in 2010 with our show and that team and Filipino Jackson, and all of that stuff made him very popular in the Philippines. Zaz, every time Zaz goes somewhere, he tells me, whether it's the Grand Canyon or Notre Dame, anytime he goes somewhere, he's surprised, even though he just joined us, that someone is walking up to him and catching him off guard. So what's the answer to that question around the room?
What was the question?
I would say the most awkward place I've met a fan is in the bathroom stall at Oktoberfest in Palm Beach.
Is it awkward or is it random?
What was the question is where Zaz started the bidding?
Where have you been most surprised to find a fan of the show?
Oh, okay, because I remember now because you asked that and then you did a lot of talking after and then you laid out. I forgot I didn't remember the question.
I mean, when we were on ESPN, it would happen whenever I would travel over to Europe. I would always run into folks. So the place that surprised me the most in terms of sheer volume was when I was in Hawaii. And I wasn't aware that we were essentially, for a while there, Hawaii's national morning sports radio show.
That one caught me off guard, too. When I went to Hawaii, I was treated the way that I'm treated in Miami. It was, and I had no idea. Any restaurant I would walk into, all of a sudden it would have the tables ready for us and people would be excited. And
that's just a 5-star resort.
Yeah. It couldn't have been the bungalow that you had.
No, it's what Mike said. It's the same thing that happened to Mike, except it happened to me.
You're being carried on a chariot.
Yeah.
And that by Mike. So you can imagine how excited they were to meet me when they were excited down there to meet Mike.
Just Mike?
Purdue was a number 1 seed as
Kirk Cousins looked like J.C. Penney.
Looks like it's back, Jack. It's bracket time, so make a chart. Does Jeff Van Gundy look just like the Queen of Hearts? Does Adam Silver look like a torpedo bat? Let's get Mark Sadness back on track. Looks like it's back, Jack. When the donuts are in front of you, does Andy Reid say, don't mind if I do? Adam Silver looks like a Q-tip thing, or frying a bag of onion rings. When Timmy laughs until he has, that's how you know that looks like his back, Jack. Let me hear you say, looks like his back, Jack. Let's keep on doing it every year. So Adnan Burke says, Mr. Bond, welcome to Tangier. Jeff Fisher looks like shotgunning beers at a NASCAR track. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Looks like his back, Jack.
Northwestern is gone from the tournament.
Jim Harbaugh looks like a casket salesman.
Fairleigh Dickinson, 16 seed, repped by
Mike McDaniel looked like a college student on a full ride scholarship for esports.
What a run.
Looks like his back, Jack.
Jeremy has been wandering around here muttering under his breath, not understanding why it is we didn't make a baseball is back Jack introduction for him. We did it for basketball. We did it for highlight. We did it for looks like. We did not do it for baseball.
We're getting to it. That's right.
Pitch Clock will be on the show today. During the show, you will have in hour 2, you will get some opening day celebration and also a live Pitch Clock today at 3 o'clock with Jeremy Teche and Chris Cody, because baseball opened last night. The Giants got clubbed The Yankees got 4 strikeouts from Aaron Judge and still crushed the Giants. Aaron Judge hadn't looked like that in a baseball game in more than a year.
Good showing coming off the WBC for
Oh,
Judge.
he has as many ribbies as the Giants do.
You know he's 33. That one surprised me.
Yeah.
I was picking number 1 overall in the fantasy baseball because I do fantasy baseball just so I can know some of these names. And it was, it's between Judge and Ohtani. So I Google the age just to see, this is usually, let me see if one of these guys I can forecast him dropping off. Ohtani's 2 years younger than Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is 33 years old.
Good pick.
Honestly,
Ohtani.
I'm shocked how good Aaron Judge is.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you shocked that Ohtani is 2 years younger than Aaron Judge? And also, are you shocked that Aaron Judge is 33 years old?
When you draft Shohei Ohtani in your fantasy baseball league,
that's
The
right.
hitter.
you can only be one?
He's 2 different players in fantasy baseball. He's
So
Shohei Ohtani.
somebody drafts
Oh,
him
that's
as a
some
hitter,
BS.
and somebody drafts him as a pitcher?
I mean, that's some BS. This has been like the known rule with Ohtani for years.
Just feel like that's how
guys not
rare.
follow the American
That's how rare
pastime?
I do fantasy baseball. But I would just think you get this guy, you can use
Yeah.
him both ways.
Yeah, I've played in leagues where that's the case. Where
Really?
you can
Wow,
just
that's a cheat code.
he
No,
exists
ripped
as
off,
both
Mike.
players.
no. In most leagues, trust me, this is a
So in
standard.
your league, 2 teams have Shohei Ohtani?
One has Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher, who's a completely different person than
That's
Shohei
whack.
Ohtani, the utility.
That's whack.
Right. As a pitcher,
player.
he's more, normal.
I was mentioning during the Shadow Show for a reason that we have a lot of fan base in the Philippines, as does in general the Miami Heat, because their coach is Filipino Jackson. And the thing that I saw yesterday that I didn't believe was real. The people here have been making fun of me because I didn't see that Jurassic Park Xfinity commercial until yesterday, and I was confused. And it's the first time I saw it, and I'm like, those people aren't real. Like, what have they done to these people's faces?
At which point we were confused. We were like, is he talking about that commercial from a few months ago?
Yeah, the one from the Super Bowl. I didn't see it for the first time until yesterday, but because everything in the algorithm is tricking me, because I can't trust the internet, because we're in a post-truth apocalypse, basically anything I see, I'm questioning, and I didn't believe that the way that the Philippines was celebrating Bam Adebayo's 83-point performance on a building, I didn't believe that this was real.
There is like one shop there that does
definitely
this.
real.
That does this every time. They congratulated Michael Jordan on winning at NASCAR, and it was like somebody else's picture.
Philippines is proud of you.
Yeah, they do this to get the attention, and it works every time.
For the audio audience, we just put up a side of a building banner celebrating Bam Adebayo's 83-point performance, what is clearly a photo of Dwight Howard back when he was with the Magic. Like, it's not
Blue jersey.
It's not even Dwight Howard recently. It is.
It's part of the greatest things I've ever seen.
I mean, it is tremendous. But what you see around him, like that's Simone Fontecchio in the background.
They
there.
nailed that one.
Yeah, well, but Simone Fontecchio was happy.
It's like Adnan Virk's son.
The part that I'm confused by is it looks like behind Dwight Howard, it's clearly the Heat celebration that I think was Bam being interviewed. But they knocked out Bam and they put Dwight Howard in there. Like, I'm pretty sure the rest of that celebration is the Dwight Howard. I'm sorry, now I'm making the mistake. The Bam Adebayo interview immediately after he had 83 points. Jeremy, is that background? Like, did they just swap out? Was Bam there and now it's Dwight Howard, but they could have just used Bam?
It just feels a little AI generated because if you look not just at the player that's supposed to look like Uncanny Valley Simone Fontecchio over Dwight Howard's right shoulder, but then there's a player screaming.
Is that supposed to be Tyler Hero?
I think it's Vlad Golden, so I can't tell.
Were the Heat wearing red that
That's a
night?
Heat player.
The
for
Heat
people
were
that don't
wearing
follow.
red.
Oh, then that's
So
probably
it's
real.
got to be the same photo, but I just don't understand why there's Photoshop of Dwight Howard, clearly with veneers, by the way. Like, there's just something off about all of it.
Look, the guy wearing the white headband there, is that not Bam?
Oh, that
Wait a
might be
minute.
Bam right there behind
Holy
him.
shit, that's Bam.
That has to be Bam.
That's Bam.
That is Bam. I'm sorry. Does congratulations have an S at the end?
No.
Congratulations. Also, if you look down, it says the Philippines is proud of you. It's just 2 U's, right? It's not Y-O-U
Well,
or just you.
who are they proud of, though? Dwight Howard?
Proud of you.
Bam is in the photo.
Yes, behind engulfed
That's
by
incredible.
Engulfed by Orlando
Clearly his
Dwight
headband.
Howard. That is correct.
I mean, maybe they know that right there is Bam Adebayo, and they're just like, you know, this picture would be better. Let's put Dwight Howard in it too.
He's more recognizable, maybe, to the Filipino fan base.
People in different parts of the country, or different parts of the world, they play by different rules.
Yeah,
they're
do.
like, you know who we love? We love Kobe. We're gonna throw him in a Michael Jordan thing. They're gonna be hugging, and then we're just gonna sell that. When I went over to Thailand, they very famously for my honeymoon and brought back COVID.
Yeah, you brought COVID.
Yeah, brought COVID back. They have so many things for sale there that you cannot find that are very risque and very like not good, but they sell them everywhere in every single street corner. Yeah, like
the Miami Heat win last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers to end their losing streak. It was a good win. Khalil Ware played very well and got the rarest of things. Filipino Jackson in the locker room giving him praise. You see Khalil Ware back there, or is that Dwight Howard? Khalil Ware is hiding in the background, as he often does when Spo is speaking, because bad things usually come out of Spo's mouth, headed Khalil Ware's way, but not after last night.
Khalil, damn right, man. You're big. You're big tonight. Plus 32. And you're big. Plus 32. Do that. That changes things for us.
Smattering of applause.
Plus 32 in 20 minutes. If he played the whole game, they'd have won by like 100. Why didn't he play more?
The way that Cleveland won against Miami to end their last playoff run?
Yo, that's in the past, Dan.
That is in the past.
So is last night's game.
Well, they're playing them again tomorrow, so I wouldn't look too far in the past. It's coming up again.
What a roller coaster last night's game was. Big lead, blow the big lead. The group chat, we stink, we suck again, and then they have a good fourth quarter.
Yo, Pelle Larson's my dog. I love watching him.
How is this third quarter thing still happening?
So crazy.
It's crazy
It's
because
been a decade.
No, it was great because they had a little stretch here, and it was leading into the win streak and then throughout the win streak where they had won something like 11 or 12 straight third quarters. They had fixed the problem. And Alex Solana, asked Spo about it.
Alejandro
and the
Solana.
look that Spo gave Solana, and then the next game it ended.
It hasn't ended. I've been hearing it called the turd quarter for 4 years.
Yeah.
This dates back to LeBron days.
Yeah, it's back.
We would always struggle in the third quarter for whatever reason. It's like they should put that in the culture mantra that they put on the court occasionally.
The
hardest working.
Worst third quarter.
Yeah, worst third quarters.
Oh, but that fourth quarter.
That can't be a thing.
Throwing it in the sand? Yeah, that probably won't work.
It has to be totally random. There's not an explanation for that. That is not something that scientists, numerologists, analysts, that's not something anyone in basketball is going to be able to explain. In fact, it's got to be a weird anomaly. Like I've heard that for too long, and that makes no sense. There's no such thing as a team that's only bad in the third quarter.
I would bet that there are several teams and fan bases around the league that feel the same way because basketball is so random and is, as they say, a game of runs. And so you take those double-digit leads and then the team comes back. The thing, though, is that you've mentioned over the last couple of years, the Heat have blown more double-digit leads than anybody in basketball. They did it last night. They lose that game most of this season. And then they were able to pull it out last night with, like you mentioned, like Pelle Larsson diving on the floor for loose balls and Khalil Ware and Bam playing together on the floor down the stretch.
Let me give you some basketball stuff from last night because this stat, Jokic again last night, and I think, don't we have imaging that is boards? Get me the imaging that is just bored of Jokic being great because he leads the NBA in rebounds per game. He leads the NBA in assists per game. He leads the NBA in triple doubles.
Offensive, though, to Nick Wright that he's mentioned in the MVP conversation.
Fourth, by the way.
He's averaging more points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, and true shooting percentage than his last MVP season. And last night he goes 23 points, 21 rebounds, 19 assists. He's got 2 such games on his resume. Everyone else in NBA history has 0 such games in their history.
Here's a start of the day from that big man.
Usually the other way around.
Godlike skills put on display, but we're feeling so blasé.
you have another stat?
We're all born, but what the hey? Jokic stat of the day.
We need Wemby versus Jokic. The sport needs it. The world needs it.
Also, another quiet 50-point game from Jamal Murray, who only has 50-point games.
He's back, Jack.
Luka is the first player to average 40 points a game over a 6-game span, all on the road, since Michael Jordan in 1986. Give me the other stat of the day, music, Chris, not the long version, the short version. I've got another stat of the day for you that is Luka related.
Start of the day, start of the day. This year's start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year's start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year's start of the day.
This is the order.
Start of the day, start of the day. This year's start of the day.
Luka now has 60 40-point games. That is more than Kawhi and Larry Bird combined. How old is Luka?
27.
So 7 years younger than Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge turns 34 next month.
And he just turned 27 February 28th.
Think about what I just said, because Kawhi's been in the league for a long time, and Larry Bird obviously was in the league for a long time. That's crazy. That stat is crazy. But the craziest thing to happen last night in basketball was that Minnesota-Houston overtime. You want to take a guess, Zaz? How many times in the last 3 decades just a team has been up by 10-plus points in overtime? Just take a guess. Last 3 decades, how many times has a team been up by 10? Get up by 10 points.
Not a lot. And when you are, it would be like really late in the overtime.
It's been 180 times, okay? So basically over 30 times, it happens 5 times, an average of 5 times a season where a team wins in overtime by 10-plus points. But it's not happened at all that a team rallies to beat the team that got up by 10 points.
Yeah, because normally you build a 10-point lead with no time remaining.
It doesn't make any sense that the Minnesota Timberwolves, even in the age of 3, and even though you only need 5 threes to get 15 straight points, it makes no sense that Minnesota had the time in that game to erase a 13-point lead that Houston had. Can you imagine if you're betting on that game and you have Houston, and I'm assuming the point spread in that game was something that was close, and you have Houston in overtime, and you were rooting for overtime. You were rooting for the game to get to overtime, and you're up 13 points, and then you lose the game because Minnesota does something that hasn't been done since they began tracking this stuff, which is they erase a 13-point lead in overtime. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you think it was possible for a basketball team to erase a 13-point lead in overtime? Because I didn't think it was mathematically possible to get up 13 points and then have time remaining in a 5-minute overtime to erase a 13-point lead.
That's the most impressive part. They went up by 11. They went up by double figures just a minute 35 into overtime. So, yes, the Wolves had some time to come back, 3 minutes and 25 seconds. But I wonder what the math is. Like, with 3 minutes and 25 seconds left in overtime, could the Rockets have just had consecutive 24-second violations and the Wolves just not had enough time to come back from an 11-point deficit?
Let me think about this for a second. So 24, you're going to make me do math on the show in real time. So
just call your math friends.
3 minutes has...
It's 205 seconds.
Possessions. So it's at least 6 possessions, 7 possessions. Yes, you can. If you do it that way, they can make 7 threes and come back on you. It's not mathematically impossible, even if they drain the shot clock, but it's pretty close. And the whole thing is an absurdity. Like Tony, you know basketball. You've played basketball for a long time. If I come up to you and I simply say, there's a team up 13 in overtime, do you think that can happen in a minute and a half? Do you think that in a minute and a half I can get to an overtime where a team is up 13?
Again, you have to hit 5 threes in a row, then the other team comes down and hits nothing, and at that point, the other team's packing it in and being like, all right, we're not coming back. There's nothing to do here.
Aaron Judge is 2 years older than Austin Hooper.
That was shocking what you said, that Aaron Judge is 33 and he turns 34 in a month. There were a lot of complaints about that Netflix broadcast. Baseball fans do not like their product bleeped with. They are very protective about their product. And do you guys know any of the details of what Netflix has bought for 3 years at $50 million? They get opening day, they get the Home Run Derby, and they get the Field of Dreams game.
Ooh, I like the Field of Dreams game.
But that's what they get every year, opening day. They started the season on Netflix. And it appears that people are mad at Netflix because it's not a traditional broadcast. This happened with Apple as well. This happened to Katie Nolan. Bert Kreischer evidently last night really annoyed people. Bert Kreischer can annoy people. And Bert Kreischer on your baseball broadcast is not something I would do. If Dennis Miller and Tony Kornheiser don't work on the Monday Night Football broadcast and you think that is some kind of sacred, a comedian around baseball is just simply not going to work on the broadcast given what the customer base is.
I saw some of it, but it appears to me a lot of the reaction that I'm getting and a lot of the things that I see that the Netflix debut broadcast did last night, it feels very similar to what Netflix did with WWE when Monday Night Raw debuted on Netflix, where it became like just it's all about Netflix. We're about it doesn't matter so much. Monday Night Raw is not the main attraction. MLB is not the main attraction. It's Netflix, and we're going to do Netflix.
Yeah,
stuff.
we're not just the broadcast partner.
Yeah.
We're the chief advertiser.
Yeah.
It was just an advertisement for itself. Like, that was everybody's issue. And Kreischer was in the pregame in McCovey Cove, and he's not doing a story. He's just being Bert Kreischer out there. And so that's one of several things. Like, there were so many different promotions for their programming where they had John Cena explaining the ABS system sort of incoherently, and they had Kreischer there, and they had a teaser for the Stranger Things cartoon that's coming out. Like, they had all of this sort of integrated to the pregame show and the broadcast when it's opening day. What you want in your pregame show is hype for the major league season.
I was going to say, you must be talking mainly pregame, because I got home after the game had started, and it seemed like a normal broadcast in the game.
That's right. The normal, that's the thing, is a lot of the criticism came from the pregame show. Their broadcast was relatively traditional.
I saw the broadcast, though, getting crushed for their spot with Rob Manfred.
Yeah, because they didn't ask anything of note whatsoever, as the league is in a really interesting time. Now, what do you expect
You never
with a new
get
partner?
those questions.
It's easy to
in
say
a
from here.
broadcast.
Exactly right.
When
Like,
Adam Silver joins the NBA broadcast, they just talk. They don't give them hard-hitting questions.
Not necessarily hard-hitting questions, but like any questions about what's going on. They can have a canned answer. They don't have to push back, but they pretty much avoided anything that was of interest to people around the league when you're going to hear from the commissioner.
The part that is interesting to me about this, as all of this changes, and I've wanted changes in broadcasting for a long time, but when you make a change and your customer base objects, then what ESPN does is they go grab Joe Buck and Aikman, they make them the most expensive things, and they say, please, fix everything we've got going on here by just making it the most traditional of things. That's what fans want. If you're inviting the streaming services into the game, if they represent the future of all of this, because you see that some of these regional networks are falling apart because they need the help of the big daddies here, you've got to allow them to change some of what it is that you're doing in the future. But baseball fans are going to be more reluctant than any other fans. I would love comedians to be around the broadcast. I would like more entertainment, and I can't think of a game that's slower other than cricket that would allow me for more room to have comedians as part of a broadcast. You already have a number of things that baseball has been willing to change. They are miking the players in a way that players are mic'd while making plays in the field because they want to give you more and more access. We were talking about the NCAA tournament. Now that you find it all over HBO Max and everywhere else, they're interviewing the players at halftime. They're giving more and more access in exchange for this money. But you can only push the envelope so much, and you can't do it with baseball fans. Like, baseball fans are the last place that wants a comedian around their broadcast, but it's the first place in sports that I want a comedian around the broadcast because the comedian has plenty of room to stretch out during a baseball broadcast.
Well, that's why you get me on Marlins.tv. But what people wanted on Netflix was L. Duncan was running point with CC Sabathia and Barry Bonds and Albert Pujols and Anthony Rizzo, like all of these people who are involved.
Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
Is that where you thought to interrupt him? Because I didn't even see Mike and Tony, and I looked up, and they were shaking their head, and they were shaking their head about the same thing I was, I'm assuming, which is if you want a comedian, that's why you go find Jeremy.
That was one of the things. Also, I just discovered Aaron Judge is like a full year older than Anthony Davis.
Whoa. That's crazy.
But Pujols?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you surprised that Aaron Judge is a full year older than Anthony Davis? You were saying, Jeremy, who you could
Pujols
find.
with an L, by the way.
You're asking me to say Pujols?
Yeah, just, say his name properly. That's all.
Albert Pujols.
He's older than Harrison Barnes.
What? There's no...
Marlins.tv.
Yeah, that's right.
Where you find the comedy stylings of Jeremy.
Where else are you going to get players who sound like candy bars when Lars Nootbaar comes into town, Dan?
He's older than Jonas Valanciunas.
That can't be true. You're making things up.
No.
You're making things up.
I mean, this is according to famousbirthdays.com. He's older than Bert Kreischer.
Jonas Valanciunas is on famousbirthdays.com?
Yeah. So is like an Antetokounmpo that's not the famous one.
I'd like some more of the names on that list of athletes who sound like candy bars.
I'm on it. I'm going to my email right now to find that list.
Well, but let's include the audience here.
Judge
because
is older than Victor Oladipo.
let's include the audience on this game because it's a good game. Just athletes throughout sports history who sound like candy bars. You can imagine either their first or last name being a candy bar. I don't want you to take the Almond Joys of the world and then just find some player named Joy. I want you to give me. I want you to give me just.
You don't want it farted out.
So you're not looking
I want
for...
it farmed out, not farted out.
You don't want Frank Hershey?
This is unbelievable.
Or Oscar Charleston Chew?
I mean, Austin Rivers is out of the league.
He's doing broadcast
He's
work.
broadcasting, and he's younger than Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge turns 34 in a month. Mike is already waiting for the downfall. He's saying it was last night. 4 strikeouts. That hasn't happened to Judge since 2024. Can you tell me, Jeremy, how many balls have been hit harder than Giancarlo Stanton had a single in that game that was 115 miles an hour. And I'm sure that he is at the top of the list of players in the sport who hit the ball the hardest.
He's older than Shabazz Muhammad, who famously lied about his age.
Gary Sheffield was the guy who, like, the third base coach is afraid when Gary Sheffield would get up to bat. And Stanton is probably hitting the ball so much harder, right?
I really enjoyed, I'm assuming so, although Gary Sheffield represents the best bat speed I've ever seen. Maybe there's somebody else who has better bat speed that somebody can think of, but when I think of bat speed, the first thing I think of is Gary Sheffield.
Babe Ruth.
He's older than Johnny Manziel.
I heard a story Gary Sheffield told on All the Smoke about Pedro Martinez hitting him, and it was just so funny to hear his analysis and see the accompanying video. Pedro Martinez, Gary Sheffield was told by some of his teammates to try and bother Pedro Martinez by stepping out of the box a couple of times mid at bat, and he did it a couple of times, and then Pedro just hit him.
He was such a badass, Pedro.
Pedro was a badass, but Sheffield was also a badass, and so you saw them staring at each other as Gary Sheffield sort of walked to the mound, and Sheffield is explaining to the All the Smoke guys, he's saying, I was looking at Pedro's face to just see if he raised an eyebrow at me, if a lip moved, if he made one movement with his face, I was going to charge the mound. But Pedro just stared at him unblinking and never moved, like purposely never moved an eyebrow, never moved, nothing on his face moved. And so Gary's like, okay. All right.
You're lucky.
That's good. But if one thing on
I was going to go over there.
One thing on your face moves, I'm going to charge the mound. And Pedro just stared at him without ever saying anything.
Aaron Judge is older than Jarvis Landry.
You had to be lying about Bert Kreischer.
You got me there.
Let's get to some sound from Barry Bonds during the telecast last night.
Honey badger.
Because I really do want more Barry Bonds with my telecast, and I don't know if they've welcomed him back to baseball. Like, I don't know what his situation is with that park, Jeremy. Did they take down his statue? Weren't there some issues there because of the steroids where it felt like he was not somebody who was very welcomed when baseball is good in San Francisco, as it has been for many years?
San Francisco is really welcoming him back. What it is he hadn't gotten a statue, despite the fact that he should have. And in July of 2025, they announced he would be getting a statue in San Francisco.
Okay, so finally some of this stuff is thawed, even though they haven't put him in the Hall of Fame, even though he's the best player I've ever seen other than Shohei Ohtani. And here he is during the broadcast telling a story that I had not heard before about George Steinbrenner.
George isn't here anymore, so I can tell the truth, right? All right, George. He ain't here. Well, I would have been the Yankees, but Steinbrenner got on the phone and they called us and they told me, Barry, we're going to give you the money, the highest paid player at that time, but you have to sign the contract by 2 o'clock this afternoon. And I said, excuse me? And I just hung the phone up. Wow. And I went to go get lunch, and Dennis Gilbert, my agent, they were like, what do you know you just did? I'm like, did you know what he just said? I just said, forget it. And I went to go by the time I walked down the street to go get lunch, I said, let me just think about this. The Giants called me, and I said, I'm going home.
Why does he talk like someone's holding his nose?
George isn't here anymore, so I can tell the truth, right?
It sounds like he's wearing a scuba mask and is at the bottom of McCovey Cove.
George isn't here anymore, so I can tell the truth, right? All right, George. He ain't here.
Do you believe that story?
The part where I'm hesitant is the way that I remember it. It was always a foregone conclusion that he was going to leave the Pirates and go to the Giants. But now he's saying that he was going to go to the Yankees, so I don't know.
I like a couple of negotiating stories that I've heard in my time, but you guys have heard Dan Patrick on this show tell one of the best ones, which is they offered him, Dan Patrick, the Price is Right job that ended up going to Drew Carey. He was offered it, but he had to accept it without knowing what it paid, because Bob Barker and they are just totally old school. So this suggests that Drew Carey took that job without knowing what it paid. Dan Patrick turned it down because he's like, what do you mean? I'm not going to take that job. It's got to be one of the best jobs in the history of game shows, correct?
But old school is accepting a job without knowing what the salary is?
Well, I just think that Price is Right comes from a different time, and they probably want to know, how much do you really actually want to be a part of the family? It can't just be about money.
I want to be a part of the family when I know what I'm getting paid.
Have you been following what's going on with Bob Barker?
The late Bob Barker,
Yeah.
and the documentaries being made about how toxic an environment that was?
Yeah, about allegations of people being his sex slave and whatnot.
What?
Evidently, Jeremy hasn't heard about this. Look up some details for me.
Aaron Judge is also older than Bob Barker.
Back to Bonds real fast. The one thing I do like about that story, you don't get the most out of a negotiation unless you hang up on somebody. Yeah. If you didn't have a hang up in this negotiation, you didn't get all your
Let's ask David Sampson that. How many times has he hung up the phone as a negotiation tactic? I bet you it's more than once.
I'm interested in his thoughts on all the things from Netflix last night, but let's play that sound for him and find out whether or not he thinks that story is true or not. The job ended up being $10 million a year is what the salary was for Price
Is that a cut for
Right.
Dan, or is it not a cut for Dan? Is he all right?
I'm going to go ahead and say that $10 million a year is a job he would have accepted if he had known that's what it was.
Such a good job.
Which one's the craziest one? Anthony Davis or Jarvis Landry? Those right there are the two top of the mountain for me.
Jarvis is out of the league, but Anthony Davis has been around forever.
Jarvis has been out of the league.
Victor Oladipo is a good one.
There's no way this guy can continue to be this good. He's got to fall off. He's got to.
Traditionally, historically, I think Paul O'Neill is one of the only players ever mathematically who has improved after that age. 33 years old is where
Bonds.
Right. Yes, Barry Bonds also.
How did he do it?
Well, I was doing non-steroids
Don't forget about
division.
me.
I was
Oh my God, that's a great Barry Bonds.
I do two different classifications of baseball players. There's the steroids and the non-steroids. There's normal human aging process, and then there's going through the pharmacy and changing everything and playing until you're, 40 years old. But mathematically, this would be the time that Aaron Judge would drop off, and I don't assume that at 33 years old, but what I saw last night is as bad as Aaron Judge can look.
He called his dressing room daddy's room.
That's actually a play on for me.
What other details do you have there? You're going to ruin this for a lot of people. Bob Barker was considered America's sweetest man. He was dating many of the, dating might not be the right term, but he was doing inappropriate
philandering
things with a number of.
I don't like what we're doing here with the daddy thing, because that needs, you need to hear how it's said. I often around here am like, daddy needs a soda. But if that was put in writing of I'm walking around here saying daddy needs a soda.
Yeah, but were you doing it?
Ethan handing it to you.
There's the rest of the context.
But just that isolated one, he's like, daddy's. I might call my office here daddy's
I get
office.
you. That's why it's a play on. We'll keep taking data.
It can't be a play on when
I need more info on Bob.
Jeremy is telling us on the front end that he had sex slaves reportedly.
Right, now I regret this.
Yes,
the beginning
you
of the
weren't
quote
listening.
was, she told me, Bob Barker made my life a nightmare. Then they said Barker always called himself daddy and called his dressing room daddy's room, and that for more than 3 years he forced this person to have sex against her will.
And Drew Carey's also got some kinks.
This is
not like that. That's real bad.
This isn't a kink.
That's not kink.
No,
That's
no.
criminal behavior.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not-
Daddy would like to take that back.
That's all right. Play on.
This is 2 days in a row where I've kind of just walked into something here that I really regret.
I think Daddy's going to have to leave.
Who, me?
Other daddy.
Uncle. I'll go.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, asshole.
I mean, you usually have better judgment than that. Sex slave
Aaron
is
judgment.
it's not a kink. Barry Bonds, as part of your broadcast, is that something that you guys want? And how do you feel in general as about the overall of what I'm saying, which is I want more goofiness with my broadcast, but you're not going to get more goofiness with your broadcast when the fans are so serious about baseball. You cannot, this is a funny time to combine two things here. Netflix is getting into the live sports game because Netflix wants to replace all of television, wants to beat YouTube, wants to beat everybody, wants to be the movies, wants to be television, has all the money in the world. And they're getting into the sports game because they want everything. But of course, if they're paying 3 years, $50 million, which is nothing for them.
That sounded really low to me. For sports negotiations?
Well, but it's 3 years and it's just a couple of games.
It's 3 things, right? You said it's opening day, it's a
home
home
run
run derby.
But in the
and the
NFL, that
Field
would go
of-
for a $250 million.
Yeah, but it's the Field of Dreams game. Yes, it would have a lot of money if it's the NFL, but not the NFL. Famously, not the NFL.
I get the heart, because I'm going to come from a hardcore fan perspective, and not that I'm a hardcore baseball fan anymore, but I'll come from that perspective because I understand the hardcore baseball fan not wanting all the extracurricular stuff. It's how I felt when WWE debuted on Netflix. I don't want all this other bullshit. So, I get some of those complaints. It makes sense to me. Now, some of the complaints, there's, the people complaining about L, they're just looking for a reason to get mad at L Duncan, okay? And those people obviously suck. But I get some of the complaints where you just want your baseball. I understand.
Well, but she referred to home plate as what? She referred
home base.
Home base.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
that's
a
see-
play on for me.
Yeah.
No, it
That's
can
a real play on.
no, but wait a
Nah,
minute.
baseball
No.
fans are gonna get
It
upset
can
with
be
that.
a play on for you guys, please.
Baseball fans.
No, no, you're
Pitch
not.
clock, live
you-
stream,
You
3
guys
o'clock.
are not the baseball fans we're talking
Dan,
about.
I'm the
here.
baseball fan you're
Talking
talking about. I felt offended.
Twitter
Hey, speaking of, by the
baseball
way, hardest hit home run ever? Your boy, O'Neal Cruz.
Finally.
What are the numbers on the velocities, the hardest hit balls ever? Because Giancarlo Stanton hit a ball yesterday, 115 miles an hour. It's just a single. What are the numbers here?
O'Neal Cruz hit a baseball 122 miles per hour.
Shohei Ohtani is on this list.
He's on the list. Stanton is on the top 20 hardest hit baseballs for home runs 8 times.
The game has changed. Weed is legal now with Stugotz and Greg Cody.
I'll tell a story if it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
When I first took the first edible I ever took was in New York, and at the time I was breaking the law. Okay, so now you can feel good about telling your story. And the guy told me, "Hey, just eat half of this." And so I ate half, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I didn't feel anything. And he begged me just to eat half. And he did say on the front end it might take a while. But I was impatient.
Right.
Because when you smoke marijuana, you get instant gratification. And waiting an hour or two for something to kick in was not something I was familiar with.
Right.
So I ate another half, which became a full cookie. And 60 minutes later, I don't remember anything. I woke up the next morning on the floor in my wife's uncle's apartment because Abby had to throw me into a cab with her, and she took me home. And I was curled up in the fetal position, and I don't remember a thing after the second half of that cookie.
Wow.
This was last Wednesday. So, with that being said, feel free to share your story of you having 4 cookies in Colorado.
Yeah, I wolfed them down. It was 3 or 4. I didn't know
3
how.
or 4?
Yeah, I
You don't
wolfed them
ask?
down.
You don't
Well-
say, "Hey, person I'm purchasing this from, how fast should I do these?"
The guy at the thing, and it was one of those official things where you're, they dress like pharmacists in there, and they sold me a vial of edible cookies, and it was in Colorado, so it's 100% legal. And my wife and I are getting ready to go to dinner. We popped open the thing. She had a nibble of one, and I ate, I think, probably 2 or 3, and it hit me by the time we got to that restaurant.
I just love how terrified you are of this conversation. You keep throwing in there like it's perfectly legal what I did.
To be fair to Greg, this has not exactly been, the most up and up thing to talk about for 60 years of his life.
Right, exactly.
This is a fairly recent phenomenon. We just go, oh yeah, everything's fine now.
No, and I don't, we did that because we were vacationing in Colorado, and I wanted
Stop giving qualifiers.
I have to give a
what,
qualifier.
Greg, more qualifiers.
It feels better when you're doing it legally. It
Right,
does.
I'm gonna.
understand.
I don't smoke anymore. I mean, I don't do that. I did in
Totally
college.
lying, trying to make them feel better. I mean,
Thank you. Thanks for that.
getting away with it was much more fun. I mean, seriously.
I had my day doing that. So
We used to get dime bags at a place in Hillside, Queens. It was called the Tie Door. Oh, was it fantastic? You never saw the guy. You just saw his hand. You would see his
Like
hand.
a first touch in a marriage?
Yeah, you would open up this little sliding door in Hillside, Queens. You would see his hand. He would see your hand. You'd never see each other. He'd put weed in your hand. You would put money in his hand, and that was it. That was a transaction. It was great. Called the
And
Tie
about
Door.
Weed first, then money?
Money first.
Oh, there
Well,
you go.
it was like you would do it at the same time, but occasionally.
So you'd see both hands.
Yes, correct.
Once every 6 months, you'd hear stories of like some guy sticking his hand and then getting arrested on the spot. The cuffs right on the wrist. That's all you see, the wrist, and then.
I always wondered, is today going to be the day? Because I went every day. And it wasn't far from my house. But is today the day that it's going to be a cop on the other side of that door? I did. I feared that every single day. But it didn't stop me from going out there every single day. Hop, skip, and a jump.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by Bombas. Bombas brings the comfort in all your everyday go-tos. Socks, underwear, tees, and more. Use code Dan for 20% off your first purchase. BOMBAS.com/Dan.
You have heard me say that I love those socks. I do love those socks, and especially if you're somebody who has cold feet issues, this will help you with those. We have Pitch Clock today on the show in the second hour, also a live rendition of Pitch Clock today at 3 p.m. The Marlins do not open until tomorrow, but most of baseball is playing today. We're going to bring in David Sampson in a second, but I just want to ask the group, from the basketball last night, because I didn't even mention that the Celtics beat OKC, and it's the first time OKC has lost in a month. You had Gobert blocking KD one-on-one in the clutch. You had KD missing a free throw. You had Scott Foster ejecting Naz Reid for mumbling, "Stop cheating, Scott." What was the most interesting thing from last night if you can only pick one basketball thing? Is it the Timberwolves thing has never happened before, where a team gets down 10+ in overtime and then wins the game.
You said a lot of great things. The one thing you did miss, Stefan Castle absolutely posterizing Buddy, getting on a knee and then looking at him afterwards was incredible too.
The Sixers beat the Bulls last night 157-137. Each team had a quarter where they scored over 50 points in the quarter, and the NBA wants to add 2 teams.
Hawks had a 20-point lead to the Pistons, blew it, and then beat them in overtime. They're 15-2 since the All-Star break.
Nobody can beat the Hawks, and Joel Embiid was great in that first quarter. He just totally changes them, obviously. He just never plays.
He's really good when he plays. The problem is he's played 91 games. It's like we said in the stat the other day, Jokic has had 88 triple-doubles.
Played the Bulls.
Okay, but still, I mean, it's professional basketball.
He's out there running around. That's what you want to see.
Is it professional?
Tony's friend is going to join us in studio here at some point before the end of the show. That's all I'm going to say about that. David Sampson joins us now. Nothing Personal is the name of the show. I'm sure he has a lot of opinions on the baseball of last night, but I'd actually like to start with your movie review today instead of starting with baseball. We will get to that in a second. What are you reviewing for us today?
I'm reviewing something that was mentioned that I didn't understand what Mike Ryan was saying when it came up last week, so I wanted to watch it. It's called Inside the Manosphere, a documentary by Louis Theroux. And I will admit to you all, I had never heard of the Manosphere. I didn't know what I was watching, and all of a sudden it started unveiling itself like some sort of onion being peeled. I was not aware of the misogyny, the anti-Semitism, the blatant fraud that is being perpetuated upon the general public of those incels who are trying to be something they will never be, which roughly sounds like a lot of people who follow the president, might I add, because you're never going to be that rich. But I am shocked not that Miami was such a central part of this. All of those scammers, all of those Manosphere guys are all right like next door to where you are. And it blew my mind. And I wanted to talk. I didn't review it on Nothing Personal, even though Coco wanted me to. I wanted to save it to talk to a group about, because I've never felt more old. I've never felt more out of touch or more scared than watching that documentary on Netflix called Inside the Manosphere.
I did see it, and not unlike you, the thing that I felt most strongly watching that is, that's all I missed about how Trump got elected, by lonely, angry young men who feel like they've been left behind and are looking to clowns to figure out how it is to become a man, because those people are saying something that no one else is saying. Because, oh, how brave to be anti-Semitic. Oh, how brave to be anti-woman. There's a whole region of the internet, Dave, that helped get Trump elected because of the loneliness and the angriness and the anger that you will find among young men.
What I really enjoyed is one of the guys whose name, I think his name is HS, and he's good-looking. He may be Australian. And he was asked, are you anti-Semitic? He said, yes. Are you a misogynist? Yes. Are you actually no, but I'll take your money? It's all about them enriching themselves. Does that sound familiar to anyone? It is all about these guys. It's all a fraud. You're not going to make money. You're not going to get laid by hot people, women or men. You're not going to get any of the life, the Lamborghini, the nice cars, the followers. You're not going to get any of it. And they interviewed a bunch of kids who wanted to be these men and thought they could. And I was so saddened by that. There were two of them on Miami Beach. They moved to Miami to find America. Maybe it's, and no, I'm not an immigrant, so I can't relate to it, but it felt like a promising America that when you get here, you're like, wait a minute, I have no shot at all. Like I'm homeless, but man, I'm going to follow this hateful guy, and that'll help me get rich. Meanwhile, nothing doing. You stay poor.
HS is from England, not from Australia, and he was a fugitive in the movie. This documentarian, Thoreau, makes good documentaries, and this one will make you think. But, David, we've aged out is what's happened there. The thing that was shocking about that movie to me was just sort of like, oh, I had no idea that there was an alternate reality here where people are filing under truth-telling amid cancel culture. Oh, I'll be the hateful one, and that there's bravery in that worth following.
Well, there's money in that worth following. And Dan, you say we've aged out. Does that mean everyone else in the room, Mike Ryan, I feel like you've got your finger on so many different pulses. To you, the Manosphere in Miami was something you just knew existed and stayed away from?
Yes. I'm not the key demo, although I do hate my dad.
Well,
just kidding. I love him. He's a good guy. It's just for effect. Also, my dad is younger than Aaron Judge.
That would almost be impossible.
We were shocked to learn that Aaron Judge is a month from his 34th birthday. We did not know that here as a show.
Yeah, well, Jeremy did, because when he was signed to that huge extension by the Yankees, it was clear the number of years that were going to be the post-35 years. You don't look at 33 or 34. He'll play 34. When you turn an age prior to the All-Star break, what you say within the game is he'll play at that number for that season. So this is Aaron Judge's 34 season. So don't count this year. He'll be okay, Mike. Next year, okay. But then it's after that. When you're playing 36 without steroids, it's going to be a precipitous decline.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that the guys that follow baseball know his age. What's shocking is like athletes that are considered like damaged goods are younger than him. Like Jarvis Landry's been out of the NFL for what feels like 5 years, and he's younger than Aaron Judge. Anthony Davis is like a full year younger than Aaron Judge. This is wild.
Well, Anthony Davis has been injury prone since he was way younger than some of the youngest guys in the league. So his body has been aging way faster than his actual years.
Pujols was
but
definitely
I think
older than that when
worry you.
David, I'm sorry. Pujols was definitely older than that when you guys tried to sign him, right?
No. He was not 35 years old. When we were offering him a 10-year
31?
deal, I'm going to say he was 32. We were going to pay him till 42, maybe 31 to play 32. But it's easy math. I mean, it's not easy math with Albert. I don't know the answer to that. But in theory, we believed that he was not 35.
Of course.
Let's play the sound for David Sampson of Barry Bonds talking on the broadcast last night. David, do you believe this story about George Steinbrenner?
The Yankee story?
George isn't here anymore, so I can tell the truth, right? Right? He ain't here. Well, I would have been the Yankees, but Steinbrenner got on the phone and they called us and they told me, Barry, we're going to give you the money, the highest paid player at that time, but you have to sign the contract by 2 o'clock this afternoon. And I said, excuse me? And I just hung the phone up. Wow. And I went to go get lunch, and Dennis Gilbert, my agent, they were like, what do you know you just did? I'm like, did you know what he just said? I just said, forget it. And I went to go by the time I walked down the street to go get lunch, I said, let me just think about this. The Giants called me, and I said, I'm going home.
David, do you believe that story?
It's really a made-for-television story. There's some bits of truth to it, so I'm going to say it's
How do you
true-ish.
sound the same? How do you sound the same holding your nose?
That's remarkable.
That's unbelievable.
That's a testament to your actual voice.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's true-ish, but you have to go back in context. So this is, my guess is you're talking about 1992, somewhere in that range, 92, 93, I think. And so you have to go back to where the Yankees were back then. You have to go back to Dennis Gilbert, and you have Dennis Gilbert, who's a great guy, a great agent, you know, in the insurance business, just a wonderful guy. You'll see him in the front row at Dodger games, about 6 seats to the right of Mary Hart. And back then,
really
George
useless,
Steinbrenner,
just useless information.
What are you talking
there.
about?
Just useless. Not that he's a good guy and that you like him, but that he's 6 seats from Mary Hart.
Tony, you know who Mary Hart is?
Who the hell is that?
It's not useful information. Why did you offer it?
because I want people to understand this is not a schlepper. Barry Bonds' agent, Dennis Gilbert, who would be involved in the negotiation for George Steinbrenner to go around to the player back in 1992 and give a 2 o'clock deadline. I just don't find that to be realistic. You'd have to have the contract. It'd have to be approved by the union. It'd have to be approved by the commissioner's office. So I just...
It was the Mary Hart thing. The computer
Did
did
you,
that.
well, just to like close his point, did you guys get that? Barry Bonds' agent ended up being rich.
That's the point of the story. And
6 seats away to the right.
To Mary Hart, yes, that is correct. You asked earlier, Chris, and I'm afraid to go back to him with that connection. Mary Hart, also younger than Aaron Judge. I'm afraid to go to the connection.
Think he's back.
Okay.
Jack.
How often have you had a hang-up in negotiations? I missed the landline because the cell phone makes the hang-up harder.
Yeah.
What just happened
Is it a tool?
technologically makes it so that sometimes you don't know if someone's hung up on you or if it's just a bad connection. It's the only reason to miss the landline, that you could just throw it down and there was no confusion about whether someone hung up on you or not. How often do you use the hang up or have used the hang up in negotiations, David?
The score for me, and I'd have to go back to get exact, but I think it's around 12-7. I believe I've hung up on someone 12 times and been hung up on 7 times. I used to keep copious track of that. And the reason I did is that within a negotiation, the hang-ups are critical. But you have to understand that when you're negotiating, that is a great tool to pull. And you're right, landline good, cell phone fine. You can go with, oh, I lost service, or oh, I didn't hear anything you said. And hang-up's different than putting the phone down. And you know that's how we dealt with Boris. You just put the phone down and let him talk to air. And that's a strategy as well. But I love the hang-up because you can do it hard. You can do it in the middle of a point, and then people don't ever get back to their exact point because they were making it up to begin with, or they lose track of what they were trying to get from you. And so I absolutely agree with the hang-up.
Do you have a memorable one above all others? And would you guys actually walk out of the room when Boris was talking, leave the phone on your desk, and leave the actual room?
100%. And you can ask Mike Hill or Larry Beinfest. What we would do is it would be on speaker. That's when landlines, it would be on speaker. And we would just put the mute button down, and my office was next to the GM's office. We'd go into my office. We'd do a bunch of other stuff, and we'd have Larry's assistant say, okay, he stopped. And then we'd scurry back in and say, oh, by the way, you know, we're not doing that. So we already knew the answer to whatever he was saying, and he would just babble on. And I don't mean like 3 minutes. And Scott Boras, you can ask around the game, he's famous for +5 straight minutes of talking on a phone call, which in the real world, imagine talking for 5 minutes straight on the phone without any sort of breath. It's insane.
No one hang-up that is more memorable
Yes.
than any of the others?
I'm embarrassed to tell you that I had a hang-up with the governor, Governor Jeb Bush. He was the governor in Florida. I look back on that. It was not my best moment, and it did not lead to a deal. But I was so angry that we were having such problems getting state-allocated money for a ballpark when there was already money in the till. We just had to be a part of what already existed. And I thought I had the Bushes all set because, remember, George was involved in baseball. And so to me, this was easy. and I was getting nowhere, and I knew behind the scenes was Norman Brayman and Marco Rubio, and they were just working against us, and I knew that. And so that's Jeb. And I knew Jeb wanted to be a part of winning because he was at the 2003 celebration at the White House. He just loved the good stuff and would not budge on the bad stuff. And I did a hang up, and then I was told by someone with whom I worked that hanging up on a governor doesn't work. I regret that.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Would a baby today ever be named Jeb at Le Batard Show?
Exclamation point. Famously.
Jeb! Yes or no?
Please clap.
David, your thoughts of Netflix foray into baseball? It's getting panned. A lot of people are crushing Netflix for how the game was covered last night.
Well, first of all, stop being upset with them because they missed the ABS. Do I think the guy in the truck could have cut away from Tony Vitello in order to see what was going on with the first ever challenge? Yeah. But I also understand that that's the time you get the manager. The manager's told in advance that that's going to be his slot. And so he's ready for that. And you have to go straight through. You get 1 minute, you get 3 questions, and then you're out. And so it's just poor timing, but it's hard to blame Netflix for that. The camera bothered me only in that the center field camera was smoky, and now they're telling me it's an iris issue. I don't know what that means. Apparently, when there's sun and shade, it creates smoke and mirrors and some sort of what looks like a green screen. I don't understand, but I do know there's been shade games before, and I've never seen that. So that the production quality that time and that center field camera bothered me. The commercials for Netflix, no, because every network does it. When you see Fox or CBS, they're always promoting their own shows. That's who gets free tickets to the Super Bowl, is the people who are in the shows on the network that's showing the Super Bowl, and then they're showed on screen. So that stuff was fine with me. Winston, whatever, with WWE,
yeah,
didn't bother me.
Say, no, but wait a minute, David. Fine with you is one thing, okay? For those of you who do not know, David Sampson was well ahead of his time in having Showtime, a now defunct network, do a reality show about the Marlins that was about 5 to 10 years ahead of its time. And if they'd done it the way David wanted to do it, most honestly, it would have been a monster hit. But everyone was afraid of it, and it quickly died. It got canceled. I don't think it even lasted the season. David, your sensibilities here are not the sensibilities of baseball fans. You like the amusement park elements of this. Baseball fans are allergic to making it an amusement park, and you know this.
But you asked me my view. I'm sorry. Did you want me to give the view of the traditionalists? I can do that, but that seems boring to me. Yes, traditionalists are upset. Old white people are upset. How could you do this to my game of baseball?
The customer is upset. It's not
But you're wrong, Dan, because that's not the customer that baseball wants. They are trying to take the demographic lower. They're trying to age out the people who are offended by that presentation.
Fair enough. Is it working when what you get as Netflix enters into this game is what seems to be, it feels to me like universal criticism. Do I have it wrong?
I didn't take a universal poll, so I wouldn't be able to put that
loud.
On
Look,
it.
opening day is not supposed to start with loud criticism.
Are you using Twitter? I'm just curious. Like, is that?
I'm
what
using
you are
people who
basing
are
it on?
talking to me and texting me. Like I'm getting an abnormal amount of negative reaction to opening day, which is the most positive of days.
So every year there is criticism of something that happens. Anything that's new gets criticized. When you redo your opening, for crying out loud, people are criticizing you. You opened your show today saying, I guess people are looking for baseball is back because you saw it in the comments on YouTube.
Jack.
I understand what you're doing, Dan, and that's fine.
I'm not reading
But
the comments.
inside-
It was Jeremy who was complaining that we don't have an intro that baseball is back.
It is ridiculous that we don't have a baseball is back.
The only reason why you want it is so you can sing it.
No, I would love Greg Cody's voice. No, I do not.
Yes.
I want Greg Cody.
Usurp Greg as singing "Baseball is Back." He wants to do it. He's
Baseball
probably already had a
is
song written.
back, Jack.
True or not? Do you have a song written already?
Oh, well, that's going to be a reveal for the live stream at 3 p.m.
Well, it's a log jam.
You better hurry, Jeremy.
We need tennis is back and golf is back first.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Jeremy, you just violated a major broadcasting principle. You just made a promise that you will reveal something in only, 5 hours from now?
He can make bad music that quickly.
Yes, I can. I can make bad music with the best of them, David.
Let me get to a couple of things that I have not gotten to here. One of them.
I can't wait for hot dog eating contest.
July 4th around the corner, Dan.
One of them is the way that David was received for his contributions to our show and his own show on the WNBA negotiations. David told me, and I don't think he has ever done this before in 20 years on this show. He says, I'd like a do-over. I'd like another crack at explaining something. And I'd like...
Well, that's not a do-over, Dan. I'd like to understand why your social media team felt it was necessary not once but twice to double down, being maybe the worst possible teammate you could be by trying to not just impugn and incorrectly describe what was said, but to have a revisionist cutting and editing in order to make it look as though I'm some sort of hateful person of women. And anyone who knows me would obviously know the opposite of that, much to the chagrin of certain people who used to be in my life. So that is completely preposterous. And the fact that you gave platform to it and then allowed your social media team to somehow clip it, it was obviously personal, and that's what you do, and that's what you guys love doing, but it was a bunch of horse shit, if you ask me. You want to know what I said?
Horse
I
hockey.
said the same thing you said. I said the same thing you said, Dan, which is the players did not win that negotiation. Period. That is not I hate women. That is not I hate the WNBA. That is me telling you that there are parts of that deal, including the length and the lack of opt-out, that show me that the focus of look at how high the minimums got, look at how great the max deal is, that sort of stuff, the WNBA owners knew very well that was going to be part of the next deal. That was not an issue. And yet, some reason, that gets translated into, oh, God, what a hateful guy. I got nothing good to say. Let's clip it. It's ridiculous what you did, Dan, but that's fine. Do-over? I don't want a do-over because I know exactly what I said because I was sitting next to you.
I do not know what video clip you are talking about.
Yes, you do.
I don't. I'm off.
You did the show, Dan.
I'm off.
It was on your show.
I am off of social media. I don't know how you got decontextualized.
The only social media I'm on is Netflix feedback.
And here is the sound yesterday on the show.
If the players are not going to move on a revenue split versus derive revenue share off of a fixed number, what is your opinion on what happens?
Maybe the end of the WNBA. The players will move. Do you think the players moved or not?
They moved from whatever it was, 18%. They got it moved to 22%. But yes, they moved off of whatever it is they wanted the revenue to be. They got a little more than they wanted, not very much more.
No, they moved down. And obviously in a negotiation, you start high and know you're going to settle for low. And I think all I was saying back then
you hang up.
Is that the current deal that they wanted, the current deal doesn't look like what they wanted. And I understand the victory lap. I'm happy because players take a victory lap after a CBA is done and owners don't because they know it's unseemly. So you're not going to see any leaks from owners saying, oh, we got him. You don't see that in any collective bargaining in any industry. Management just doesn't operate that way. And so for unions to do it is totally normal. And I'm not begrudging them that. I'm explaining that the actual WNBA CBA, when you look at the provisions, when you look at what matters to management, they did not budge on the issues that mattered to them. That's all I was saying.
I want to get to what is happening with the highlight team here. What are you shaking your head about now? What are you complaining about?
You claiming I'm off social media. I have no idea what happened in my show.
I don't
it
know
was
what you're
your
talking
show.
about. I don't know what you're talking
Dan,
about.
Dan, you know you make the edits for social.
I saw you
All
in the back room
quit
posting
denying.
clips.
And you do it with one finger on your phone.
Just
like
You've gotten
reading
good at
glasses
it.
down.
No, I was twisting my mustache saying, make sure to make David look bad. The worse you
More
can make
hate.
him
Were
look.
you wearing wearing a monocle?
Can I get more hate on this clip?
How do I invite a collaborator?
How would you have me wearing a monocle?
Oh, you're twisting a mustache. There's always a monocle with
Monopoly
that.
guy.
Come on.
A monocle? Do you even wear a monocle? I thought you held a monocle up to. What is the monocle contribution?
We're getting bogged down. We have an important Jeb
Check
Bush
out his
update.
comedy at marlins.tv if
Yeah,
you want
please watch
comedy with your baseball broadcast.
Guys.
What do you have, Mike?
Well, I would have thought that Jeb was short for like Jebediah or something, but that's not the case. Shocking news here from Tony.
His name is John Ellis Bush, or Jeb for short. So Jeb is actually an acronym. So if we say Jeb Bush, it's saying John Ellis Bush Bush.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be Jeb Bush.
That's right. That's right. Oh, you know what time it is. It's time for highlights. Now, the Cyclones are hitting a bit of a rough patch. This could be called a midseason hiccup, or it could be called a team in total turmoil. Exhibit A for a team in total turmoil. Look, guys, we had a championship rematch yesterday. The Cyclones drew the match. It's not a loss, but look at this locker room. That is bad body language. Bad vibes all around. And to speak to the vibes, here's our captain. Mind you, this was after a match win. This was Manu.
A lot of good things to say, so I prefer nothing. I'm not going to say nothing.
That is tough to hear coming from your leader.
World-class athlete.
And and future South Beach Sessions guest, Manu. And the frustration boiled over here with Unda
David loved that.
against Benetrix. Show the clip.
Carambola serve is dropped.
Reckless behavior.
Another world-class athlete.
Yeah, that's it.
So we're GM of the year for a reason, right? we took this opportunity to put it in the group WhatsApp, that still image of the locker room, saying that this is unacceptable. But we boosted the guys up. We didn't want to come down too hard on them. We just got to turn these vibes around, guys. We're acting like we've lost 3 straight. We lost 1, drew 2 in a row. We're still second in the standings right now, and this team's morale is in the dumps right now because they're having a difficult time adjusting to this brand new fronton, Dan.
But David was a part of your live stream, and how did all of that go, David? I saw that a lot of people were watching. We're trying to keep Jai Alai alive both nationally and internationally. We're succeeding so far with all of the work that we're doing with the ownership of this team. How did you enjoy partaking in the live stream?
I loved it. Jai Alai is huge in the Philippines and Hawaii. And I thought that the stream was amazing. What I love more is the group chat that Mike and Chris invited me into. And I must tell you that it's the first group chat I've ever been invited into. And so I have none other on my phone except the Jai Alai one. And you guys are so active that I had to Google, I'm sorry to just do this to you, how to turn notifications off.
How to silence a chat.
Because it was just, how to silence a chat. Because I still get the red bubble number, and you guys do it at all hours of the night. And Mike, you have some funny comments, and then there's pictures, and there's videos, and there's back and forth. And so what I'm trying to learn, and I don't want to upset you, how often is a response required to make you know that I'm still happy to be a part of it and interested in reading it, but not at the cadence that you're delivering it?
This is really interesting. Having someone just discover group chat and group chat etiquette. You can be quiet. You can be a tourist. That's all right. We got plenty of tourists. Chris Whittingham hasn't piped up once in that chat, yet he's still there, like a fly on the wall.
David, that is...
He piped up as soon as I joined, but I had to give like a thumbs up to match some of the ha-has. I find it very stressful when there has to be a reaction to a video and I'm in the middle of doing something and everyone has ha-ha'd it and I want to be different so that you'll notice that I participated. So I gave a thumbs up.
I did notice.
And then I thought to myself, what are my thumbs up?
I was like, why is
are
David,
they going to misinterpret?
Why is David liking this photo with Mike Ikeda and myself?
How surprised are you that the 2017 Shanghai Masters double champion John Isner is all about this sport?
I am not. I love it. I don't understand several of the rules. I'm still learning. I'd like to find a way to watch it so it's not just pirated. And I do want to attend a match. But I am definitely fascinated by a sport that involves people who don't, to me, look to be athletic, but the sport is something that I know I could never do because I didn't realize the difficulty in having something strapped to your hand and then the ability to catch it. It hurt my shoulder just doing it, and then whipping it the way they do. I don't understand why you don't need a better body to be that active on the court.
Chris, can you just get me the sound isolated of a frustrated Unda? Yeah, we got to play that for Ron McGill and ask him what kind of animal that is. David, that's not even, my guess is
We
that
love his passion.
It's such a low volume chat, David, of all the chats too. It's hilarious.
I'm guessing that there's not a lot of activity on that chat, but you're inundated by what seems like a lot of activity to you. I also feel like I need to correct you, and I don't think that Jai Alai is popular in either Hawaii or the Philippines.
It is in the Philippines. It's actively played in the Philippines, the Basque Country, and Florida. I didn't know about Hawaii. I didn't. Well, as you know, Dan, Hawaii is a huge state for us in our show, and no one told me, hey, there's a fronton.
By the way, it said I've Googled it, and they said Jai Alai is not big in Hawaii. That was one of the answers. And also, the Philippines banned Jai Alai in 1986. So I don't know if they're still playing over there.
No, it's back, Jack. Robin is an instructor there.
1986, they had a ban. They tore down the major Jai Alai building in 2000.
Are you calling Robin a liar?
I'm saying that he's taking whatever money and hanging out in the Philippines.
If I had the ability to hit the penalty box, Dan, you'd be in the penalty 2 minutes for stopping the show or not getting the show. I was calling back to the first hour and how popular you are in Hawaii. And don't blame me for explaining the show when you're the one who should be 2 minutes out of the room.
Well, I just think that factually, if your facts are important
Talk about
to
Jai
you,
Alai, not the show.
We were talking about Jai Alai. You're making a joke that's an inside joke to only you. A joke can't be so inside that you're the only one who gets it.
Dan's right here.
No, because you just talked about Hawaii in the first hour, how you felt the way you feel in Miami, that you get any table you want, and that you're a BSD in Hawaii.
But it doesn't have anything to do with the
Jai Alai-
conversation we were having or Jai Alai.
That's fine, Dan. Keep yourself in the chair. God forbid you could ever do something wrong.
Can I see the
God
video
forbid.
one more time? Because Unda, is stout, and when he's angry, there's some physical comedy aspects.
Garambola's serve is dropped.
Hang with the video here. We're gonna get a good look at El Barba's excellent beard.
Yeah, that's it.
Look at that thing.
Yeah, that's it.
He looks like that's a squid that's hanging from his chin.
The bad guy in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, he was the official that took the ball straight to the ankle. Yeah. He's okay. I checked
the
up.
The fact that the referees are bench players
Taxi
is
squad.
the nugget that I still think about every day.
See you later, David Sampson. I don't believe that that's something
Every
you
day,
think
they're
about
like that.
every
No, I believe
day. I believe that is just him lying. Nothing Personal is the name of the podcast. Thank you, David. Appreciate your time. Make sure to cut all that up and edit it in a way that makes him look most bad, most misogynistic, most evil. Thank you, social media team. That is a direct order, okay? Just use the sound that he says, I never said I hate women. Just use the I hate women. And make sure to get that out into the Manosphere and everywhere else so that David can be...
Money to be made there, Dave.
So that David can be...
I have an isolated clip from it.
I'm some sort of hateful person of women. I'm some sort of hateful person of women.
Wow.
There it is.
There's something there. There's something there.
An admission. See if we can get a little tighter, get the AI people on it, make it most sinister and the largest possible betrayal. Thank you, David. Nothing personal.
Also, he might get booted from the chat because our form is real bad since we added him. Wow.
I want to ask Jeremy what he was going for there with the monocle, because I don't assume that a monocle is worn. I don't assume the audience knows what a monocle is. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know what a monocle is? Yes or no? I don't assume that the verb is worn. I also don't assume that someone who's partaking in sinister behavior and twisting their mustache has a monocle. Like, I don't think
For sure
of the,
they do, Dan.
But
this is ridiculous.
But you're making it something that's sinister. Zaz, do you know what a monocle is?
Yeah, isn't that what, like, the Penguin from the old Batman TV series he used to wear?
Is it held or worn?
I think it's held.
You can do both. Because you can stick it in between like the top and bottom eyelid. And
The
and
real
have it
cartoon rich
fixated
people
there.
like Dan, they get it custom made so that it can just sit there as if it's like reading glasses.
And I think it's had a recent surge in popularity because it does have a dedicated emoji on the iPhone.
Can we get our social media team, please, to more aggressively be sinister and evil to David?
I hate women.
That's better. Let's circulate that order. Please just order that to whoever needs that order and make sure it gets out into the manosphere.
I hate women.
Also, biggest example of Mandela effect might be the Monopoly guy not having a monocle.
He has glasses, right?
Wow, I only associate the monocle with the Monopoly guy.
I'm thinking of the guy from Ace Ventura 2.
I think that's why people think, because he goes, and you must be the Monopoly guy. And he had a monocle, but the Monopoly guy does not have a monocle.
I'm surprised by that. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does the Monopoly guy, yes or no, does the Monopoly guy have a monocle? Because I'm not kidding you when I tell you I don't associate it with anybody else.
Yeah, Mandela
Yeah, I think the
effect.
Peanuts guy has it.
Mr. Peanut does have
Nailed it.
That's it.
That's what we're
a
doing.
monocle.
Wow. I think that's what we're getting to here is that the Monopoly Man never did. There were several articles about him not having it, having glasses on occasion. They've added and removed those, but it is Mr. Peanut that has the monocle.
The peanut guy,
He said peanuts.
Whatever.
The peanut guy. We understood what it is that you meant.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
what are you whatevering me for?
It's whatever. You knew what I meant.
I did, and I do understand what you
Cool.
meant. Didn't Mr. Clean just recently get retired? Speaking of these figures that are pop culture famous, I'm pretty sure that it just recently was in the news that Mr. Clean was or has retired for the first time. I don't know what kind of run that he had.
February 18th, 2026. After 68 years of cleaning, he's gone.
He'll be back.
He returned on March 4th.
I ended my my session with the highlight team with 3 words: belief, adaptation, and aggression. I've been watching so many Pete Hegseth press conferences. I should have ended it with warrior ethos.
I just want to be clear for the audience that both Mike Ryan and Chris Cody, who are very interested in the self-sabotage of the company and me, have recommended that I interview Manu on a South Beach session.
What a cat.
That I do an hour
Good balls.
with Manu. Go ahead and play that again so people can hear and see what it is they want me to do.
I don't have a lot of good thing to say, so I prefer nothing. I'm not going to say nothing.
With Steve-O.
We are joined by a very famous persona from America, and also Steve-O, because Wendy from Peru is an internet sensation. Go ahead and tell the story, Steve-O, before we get in here. And always thank you for making time for us. But tell us why it is that your dog is more famous than you are, because I didn't think it was allowed that you can just find a dog on the streets of Peru, fall in love with it, and then just bring it over to America. I thought, didn't Johnny Depp or somebody get in trouble for trying to bring an animal into the country without the proper permission? Like,
Well, that was the other way around. He already had the dog and was trying to smuggle it into Australia. I was in Peru for a mountain climbing expedition, and I found Wendy here on the streets. And fortunately, the mountain climbing expedition was like a TV show, and the production jumped through all the hoops for me. So I really didn't have to do anything, and I was able to bring Wendy home. And the video I made about finding her, it garnered over 100 million views on Facebook, making it the most viewed video I've ever put on the internet. And it's kind of devastating for an attention whore like me. You know, I've like, with the lengths that I've gone to, you know. But there it is, man. So Wendy and I, we are on a rock tour as we speak, barreling towards Syracuse for a show tonight, and we've got shows every single night in the Northeast U.S. For the next 12 days. Albany tomorrow night.
This video is adorable. Is Wendy's a service animal?
She is. You bet she is. Yeah, because I have terrible issues.
You should take more dogs, though. I mean, it seems to be working for you.
I have terrible issues is a great sentence that would explain the last 25 years of your life. You've done great sort of capitalizing on, let me take a tour bus through my terrible issues.
Right. That's about right, man. I have terrible issues.
and she brings you genuine comfort when she's not a professional service dog license, and you've got the proper paperwork. Steve-O is now a paperwork man with a legitimate service dog that he needs for comfort.
You know what? I'm gonna break your guy's heart right here. There's no such thing as official certification for a service animal, and because and I did the deepest dive, man. I found the best dog trainer on the planet, and they were the ones who told me, yeah, there's no such thing as official certification. You know, we can sure train her, but that's never. I got a note from my doctor. I got some weird thing online that means nothing, which says certified service animal, but yeah, there's no such thing. You can ask a blind person with a seeing eye dog, and they'll tell you that there's no such thing.
More to the point.
So we make fun of. Yeah, we travel around and we make fun of service dog vests.
I just figure that you find genuine comfort here, and people might be surprised to learn that a man who has been so fearless in his life would admit to needing the love of a dog to temper his issues. That's real adult, grown-up introspection one of the Jackass guys is doing.
All right. I mean, hey, I'm happy to admit that for sure. And the federal law requires that a service animal be trained to assist somebody with a disability. Although the law does not require the person to explain what the disability is. Now, when he asked me what Wendy's trained to do, she is a mobility assist dog. And what that means is she gets me where I'm going because I'm not going anywhere without her.
Nice. That's why you got 100 million views. That's because people love dogs and love the story of you just found a dog in Peru and fell in love.
Well, Steve-O, are you certain there's no one in Peru looking for their dog named Wendy? I mean,
I am. I'm very certain.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, Steve-O.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Stugotz. So you are now touring the country. Tell me about what this portion of your life looks like. Could you have imagined 15 years ago that you'd be on a tour bus, not having to break your spleen doing something?
Well, it's bittersweet. I am on a gorgeous tour bus, and the tour I'm on is called the Bucket List Tour, and what that is sort of spleen breaking stuff. However, I shot it all for the tour ahead of time. It was stuff that I would never be allowed to do for Jackass, like having general anesthesia drugs administered through an IV while I was riding a bicycle. And, I got another medical professional to
no.
I got another medical professional to put a 4-inch needle into my spine and inject a drug into my spinal cavity to paralyze me from the waist down while I was in a full sprint. I had another one where I was butt naked in an airplane and quite literally servicing myself with a guy strapped to my back. And as I fell out of the airplane, I was ejaculating, which I'm pretty proud of.
Oh, geez.
So it's a XXX rated show loaded with flagrantly illegal stuff, and I'm just tickled by it. And it's a multimedia show too. So after each bit, I screen the glorious culmination of the bit.
How hard was it to keep your mind on the task at hand?
Oh, dude, that was the most challenging thing ever, man. It was the tiniest little airplane packed full of dudes, and all I had was a little portable DVD player. It was tough.
I mean, we've never had anyone.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I'm going to bring the energy for this. Baseball. Hi, everybody. Baseball.
This is a good show you're doing.
This is the pitch clock.
I decided to watch Pitch Clock.
Pitch clock is coming at you. It's incredible.
Hi, everybody. Baseball.
Pitch clock is coming at you. On the pitch clock.
Baseball.
Pitch clock is coming at you.
Can I tell you something?
Baseball.
Pitch clock is
This is the pitch clock.
Hey, baseball coming at you now.
Hi, everybody.
Pitch Clock will be featured in the next hour. We have a United States Senator joining us in the next hour. We have Tony's friend joining us this hour. Jeremy, you're doing a live show, Pitch Clock, at 3 o'clock with a good get. Chris Cody,
Thank
you
you.
were able to secure Chris Cody as a guest. What are you guys trying to do today at 3 o'clock?
Also, Ethan. So we're going to be watching basically every game that's happening. Opening day. That was opening night last night. This is opening day. This is what baseball's about.
The good stuff.
It starts at 1 o'clock. So we'll be getting the back end of the first game today, and then a whole bunch of games start at 2, 3, and 4. So we'll be watching all the games, updating people there, but we will also be playing a couple of our pitch clock style trivia games, and we're just going to have a segment called Guys Naming Dudes, where we'll be talking about players from the 90s
Or dudes
and early
naming guys?
2000s. Could be either.
Okay.
However you prefer. Guys naming dudes, dudes naming guys, but we're going to be talking about old school names that make you happy, like Ronnie Belliard. Also, at 1:30 p.m., the episode of the Pitch Clock from today that previews everything happening in the season with Adnan Verk, that'll be live at 1:30 on our YouTube page on that YouTube playlist, where Adnan will tell you that Logan Webb, who got lit up last night, is going to win the Cy Young in the National League.
All right. Great work by Adnan Verk. He allowed 7 runs last night, and that information will...
Long season.
I immediately stopped what I was doing when I heard Ronnie Belliard.
See?
I'd go earlier than that to Rafael Belliard because I'm just older than you guys.
You're trying to out-Belliard him?
I was. It's a Belliard off, and I believe I've got the bigger
Not hard
belly.
to do, yeah.
Bigger belly.
Hit that one out of the Belliard.
Can you guys let me finish my jokes before making yours?
It was so obvious. I was trying to land the joke, Jeremy.
God almighty.
Jeremy's unfunny in that chair, too.
Marlins.tv if you want more of Jeremy's
Oh, and
comedy
if you want more of me,
stylings.
I'll actually be
Still
the
interrupting me.
in-stadium host at Lone Depot Park
Unbelievable.
this week. Starting
Okay.
opening day, I'll be
So
the in-stadium
Tony's
host. There. It's
friend
going to be
is
awesome.
here with
Uptown
us
Dale.
today. Oh, my God, you guys. Tony's friend is here with us to celebrate flag football. But before we do that, I want to get to something a little bit more serious because Puka Nacua is putting the league in a very difficult spot because he's about to make more money than any of the wide receivers, and he most resembles everything that has happened with Antonio Brown toward the end of his career, the details of this or an allegation. He's not denying that he bit a woman. His lawyer is not denying that he bit a woman. Now, I want to show his lawyer for a second so that you guys can see who Levi is, who is representing Puka Nacua as he gets in the game here of trying to correct some of the optics around what surrounds the second best receiver in football. That's Levi McCatherine, and he looks the part there. What are you shaking your head about?
That's not Levi whatever. That's Champ Kind with a couple extra LBs.
Yeah,
Whammy!
Whammy! You're trying to have a thought-provoking segment here on Puka Nacua. You can't come out the gates with that photo. I just now I'm lost.
That is the lawyer. That is the lawyer for Puka Nacua, and I don't know what to do with everything surrounding Puka Nacua because basically all I know about this person as a human being right now is he's exceptional at football. He plays a physical kind of football that makes me wonder if his head's right, given all of the details around his story.
Yeah, and he's had some controversial opinions about CTE as well. I don't know if it's because his star continues to ascend, and he's one of the bigger sports stars in that market and in the league. He's highly productive, but his offseason has to be concerning for the LA Rams. Like, I don't think it's unfair to say all of this behavior is super concerning and strange because it's not just the biting accusations, the anti-Semitism. I guess it's Manosphere adjacent too because he did that Aiden Ross stream that started a lot of issues for him. It's his quotes, but there's also a lot of videos of him partying and maybe partying a little too hard, videos of him passed out, which certainly just that alone would be concerning for the LA Rams. He seems to get after it, and his family's had issues too. He's had siblings like steal a car. He's had another sibling assault a fan at a UFL game while he was in uniform. So this would be very concerning if I were Leslie and Sean McVay and the LA Rams. Like this is not good. And this could be the sign of things to come. And I don't think you're out of line, even though there was actual felonious behavior as we crescendoed. This is early stage Antonio Brown type of behavior that we were all kind of laughing at with the Raiders, and then it got out of hand quickly. And I worry for Puka.
Early stage Antonio Brown behavior is about as large an indictment I can make of a athlete in that sport. And Antonio Brown represents for me something that I simply had not seen before or experienced in my entire lifetime covering sports, which is you've got a guy who's got a pristine reputation rebounding from homelessness in Miami to becoming a professional pillar who appears to get addicted during the social media age to social media. And all of a sudden, the access we have to him is too much access, and we see someone go full-blown crazy on us. And we don't know enough about CTE to understand, is that happening because of the hit he took from Vontaze Burfict? The style of play that Puka plays, combined with all the other elements here, make it so this is not a star on the faded end of his career like Antonio Brown was, who still got several chances and won a championship as some of this stuff started. This is a guy who's going to vie for the biggest contract in the league next year if he can keep his behavior correct. But the attorney and him are not even denying the biting allegation. Like that.
No, there's a damning photo out there.
The lawyer's saying it was just horseplay, but the photo is a bite mark on a human being that looks like it's aggressive.
That's why my dad always told me no juego de mano. That was a very important piece of my childhood is no juego de mano. Don't do that. You know it always ends up bad. And it does.
Pero this isn't juego de mano. This is juego de dientes.
I know, but it's still all in the same category. Juego de mano, you could do it with teeth. You could do it with hands.
Fill in the rest of the
Juego de mano literally translated into hand games, but it's also roughhousing that kind of play.
Let's
yeah.
play. I
Horse
guess
play.
we got to do Refran del Dia now.
okay.
We're there already. Now, I wanted to do serious, thoughtful segment, but we're now at Juego de Mano. And
You didn't expect that. I know. I'm
Are
sorry.
we playing the music after we do the thing again?
Yeah, we're doing it. We're going to do it again. We're going to revolutionize the industry is what we're going to do by playing the imaging to things after we've already done them. This is good music for Tony's friend, too, to just welcome him in. He can
Good
help
subject
us.
matter, too.
Dímelo, mi gente! All right, Refan del Dia. We don't need to spin the wheel. We know what it is. Juego de Mano. Every Latin kid who is ever born knows Juego de Mano because it is generational, because it transcends every family. Everybody knows you do not play Juego de Mano if you have a sibling, if you have a cousin, if you have anybody that is your same age. You get into horseplay, you get into roughhousing, you get into things that you shouldn't because you start playing around, but it never ends up that way. Juego de Mano always ends up serious, starts as a joke, ends very serious, ends with everybody going to timeout, everybody getting the belt at one point or another.
Whoa.
It's the truth. You want me to be honest? That's the truth.
That is the truth. Tony tells the truth. Who is your friend, Tony? This is
Oh,
a lighter
Dan,
music
glad
to
you
bring
mentioned him. We're going to bring him back over. Nico Caceres, QB for the USA flag football team.
Hello. USA.
Nico, you can turn on your mic right there, buddy.
That was
How
the
does it
worst
feel?
USA chant we've ever had.
Oh, we need to be better about being USA first here, but if you want me to be honest. But that's not the point. The point is,
Really?
buddy, how does it feel? Fanatics champion.
It was incredible, first of all. There we go. It was incredible, first of all. To showcase what we could showcase on national television on Fox was amazing. And then shout out Fanatics because leading up to the event, to the actual game, it was incredible. All the events they had planned out throughout the week, all the guys they had showed that we're contemporaries in that space, so it was pretty amazing.
They showed respect.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, did that respect start before the festivities or after you started kicking their ass and it was evident?
So before the festivities, but funny enough, on Wednesday after the draft party, we went upstairs to the little rooftop they had there, whatnot. And Saquon Barkley, cool dude, showed mad love the whole time. Was talking oh, how are you guys gonna pull my flag? Blah blah blah. And we were like, well, you can't jump, you can't hurdle. There's no contact.
Were you teaching him the rules? Did he know that already, or were you like, nah, you everything you do in the NFL you can't do?
They knew it to some degree, but they didn't know about the no jumping, that type of stuff. So they found out.
Well, take us through, though, what your expectations were versus what ended up happening. For those of you who do not know, incidentally, the pros, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Stephon Diggs, Rob Gronkowski, I'm guessing that they thought they were going to win. I believe that most of the people watching thought they were going to win without understanding that flag football is totally different from professional football. It's quickness. You don't need strength for anything. You have to be super quick, super precise. How did it go compared to how you thought it was going to go?
I always knew, and I could say as a team, we always knew we were going to win the game, I would say. We felt confident. I mean, we do this all the time, so it's a difference there. They're picking this up on a week. Some might have been training for it, but for the most part, they're training for the NFL. That's what their job is, right? So we always knew we had confidence that we were going to win. I just thought personally that we were going to get more scoring from them because of who they are, per se, but you could tell how much the rush affected stuff, that they're only 7 yards away. They didn't have a blocker, so that affected things, and then the nuances of the game affected it also.
So it was easier than even you thought. You knew you were going to win. You did not know you were going to blow them out.
Correct. Yeah.
And so it was easier than you thought. There wasn't nerves or anything. You guys were convinced, they're not going to be able to do the things we do. We've trained for years for what we're doing. They haven't trained for any of this, and it's a different sport.
Correct, and I think that was on full display.
But say it was easy.
He kind of did.
They're still NFL players, so I'm going to give them their respect.
He's kind of doing that. One thing that really jumped out in watching it is guys like Saquon in the NFL, they look super explosive, but power is such a huge part of their game, and power is not really needed all that much in this sport. The better athletes on television were on Team USA because they were just so much quicker. That was crazy, but it's not just that. It's not just, okay, I got a guy that knows how to play on this smaller field and with these rules. Devontae Adams all time is one of the greatest goal line target guys ever, and your DBs are blanketing
Probably
him.
a top 10 receiver.
Yeah, you guys know the angles, you know how to manipulate the playing surface, and there was one moment during the broadcast where you were essentially explaining the game to Gronk, and he was really receptive. But in my mind, in all of sports, I can't imagine a more difficult person to explain rules to anything when it comes to rules of any kind than Gronk. So how did that go?
Actually, it was the complete opposite. I mean, he was just asking a bunch of questions like, when do you know, like what it's on the broadcast, like when do you know when to go in and stuff like that. And I had to relate it. I played tackle football. I played in college at a small D3 in DC, but I had to relate it in that way. I was like, oh, when do you know when to go in? I'm like, oh, it's like a package. It's like, well, you know, if it's 2 tight ends, you're in the game. If there's 1 tight end, you know you're in the game. So it's similar in that regard.
There was one moment in your second game. It was the Founders. Brady checks into the game.
Yep.
He immediately evades pressure, sidesteps, and finds Gronk in the corner of the end zone.
Yep.
And then Gronk then ends up pulling his hammy.
Yep.
But right then in that moment, you're like, oh shit. All right, that's Brady to Gronk. All right, maybe these guys can hang.
Yeah, 1,000%. And like Gronk was a massive.
You guys didn't have an answer for Gronk.
Gronk is a massive human being to get around playing any sort of football, and I think it showed in flag football, and he loved it. Like, he was asking, like I said, a bunch of questions, hung out, talked with us all week. So he was into it, and he was, like, upset that his hammy wet.
Who was talking the most smack on the other teams? It had to be Logan Paul.
Logan Paul was up there, but honestly, Logan Paul at the same time was like, he rushed one play, he rushed at me, and I threw that double pass back to Hoosh, and he was like, did I do my job there? And I'm like, yeah, you did. Don't worry about it.
They ran Logan the entire game. I was so impressed with his athleticism because he was drenched in sweat. They were just sending him full sprint the entire game.
That's what rushers are, man. I mean, and credit to them. It's something in flag football that gets overlooked, that rushers, but how important they are, and it showed. We have a really good one in Sean Thread Flash, who's the same guy who ran the route on Luke Kuechly. And, it showed how much of a difference maker he is in the game.
Poor Luke Kuechly.
Were any of the pros particularly angry at the way you guys were beating them?
Not really. I think if it was during the game, to be honest with you, it was all in the makeup of, like, making the game, like, bring attention to it, to be honest with you. But none of them were truly angry about it. I think the more it realized how different the game was when we actually got into the game.
There were cool moments in the broadcast where you can tell, like, oh, like these guys realize this is tougher than we anticipated. Like Hopkins catches that touchdown, and you kind of see the competitive spirit there. But then how much fun did you guys have breaking their will? Because there were points where they capitulated too. And the Jalen Ramsey wasn't talking as much towards the end.
Actually, so the second play of the game, I threw a post to one of the guys going by Ravel, and DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams were like, "Do you know that's Jalen Ramsey? Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna you can't be scared of them because that's how you lose the game." So it was just about playing our game and trusting our process, and we have a bunch of great coaches, and it just worked out that way.
All Cubans, right?
Yeah, all Cubans. 3 for 3 on Cubans.
I've never heard a coach on a Fox broadcast say "oye" to get his players' attention. As soon as I hered that, it was a DiCaprio meme. I'm like, that guy's from Miami. That guy's got to be from Miami.
We have a couple of plays. Linea, cajita. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask if you were speaking in Spanish because they wouldn't understand you. You don't even have to cover your mouth with a play sheet because you could just oye.
Yeah, George is our head coach. He's been doing it. He's probably the greatest, in a different format of all time, quarterback-wise. So he knows a lot, and it's easy to communicate with him, especially against maybe not so much the South American countries, but against your Japan, your Germanys, and Spanish.
You guys are the gold medal favorite?
Yes, sir.
Who's the silver? Who's the big challenge?
So it's usually Mexico. Always gives us a hard game. We just played them a month ago. We won by a point. Wow. Yep. Mexico's very good because they play it like us. They play it year long, and they do it all the time. Panama's very good, and I would say Japan and Italy would be the next ones after.
How many countries would have also won what you guys did?
I think all of the other countries would also give them a game just because of the nuances. I just don't know about how much. I think we're the physically most imposing country that could compare. So I think that's why we would have the edge over all the rest of the country. So I'd be interested to see how that goes.
Who were the NFL players who most underestimated you, where you could just tell? Well, Hoosh, for example, changed his entire tone before the game. Felt disrespected, felt that people didn't understand, was quoted as saying, "I'm better than Mahomes," and then didn't quite walk all that back, but was so moved by how gracious the NFL 100%. Guys were throughout that everything he said since then wasn't the victory lap I was expecting him to take because those guys offered you the respect on the front end. But who underestimated you guys?
I don't want to say it was everybody underestimated us as a whole, because I think like for the general like population, like you think like really think about it. It's flag guys who some work full-time jobs, right? Yeah. Compared to the best in the world athletes. So it's easy to go that route, underestimate us. But I think the more they realize going into Saturday what they got themselves into, they realize it was that much more of a different game.
So the disrespectful stuff when this came out about it being in the Olympics,
right,
and NFL players wading in the water saying that they would like to be a part of it, you guys probably, I know Hoosh was vocal, taking exception to it. Like, guys, this is a totally different game.
Yep.
Just because you've done this in the league doesn't mean that you can come take our job. But who out of those two teams do you think, NFL guys, that can actually give it a go for the Olympic team?
I would say the hard part is the fact that their OTA season and whatnot coincide with...
Right, but Odell had an incredible catch, and he's out of the league.
There's no doubting receivers' talent. Like, no one's going to sit here and say Justin Jefferson and Odell Beckham can't play at the same time. But at the end of the day, if you look at, like, how much are they really going to commit their bodies to it? Because, like, as you see, like, Hoosh and Velt and Pablo, the three guys running around, they're 5'8", 145, maybe. But they fly. So it's just a completely different play sound, a completely different body type.
I was going to say it's Gronk and Logan Paul, strangely enough. that
Logan
those
Paul,
guys,
the
rusher, like, you just let him go.
I think Gronk would be very good at flag football, by the way.
Who's the defensive guy that, as you were playing, you're like, oh, I can key in on this guy, and, like, he can't stop me.
Because he sucks.
Was it the
boxer?
Was it the boxer? Terrence Crawford, maybe?
Bud Crawford.
There will be that.
We're going to talk shit about Bud Crawford?
On the broadcast, they're like, they seem to be targeting Terrence Crawford. He's the only non-football player out here.
I won't sit here and disrespect arguably a Mount Rushmore boxer of all time. But he was leading up to the event. He was talking like, whatever. But that was a guy that every night sat there, talked it up with us. His team talked it up with us. There's no better guy that we met this weekend than Bud Crawford.
But he also talked shit and underestimated you, correct?
At first.
And was targeted.
At first.
And then you targeted him. Then you targeted him as a specific weakness.
At first. But then, listen to me. If I don't underthrow the ball a little bit more, it might be a pick. Like, that wasn't the best thrown ball I threw all weekend. But, hey, Velt ran a great route, and it got there. And like I said, great dude. Pound-for-pound boxer, no Bud Crawford disrespect.
It's crazy. Even in flag football, the quarterbacks don't want to say anything.
Take us through the specifics of the awe and the expectation when Brady hits Gronk, when you realize what you're in the middle of. And Mike texted me that he got goosebumps with Brady walking out.
The jog.
When
he did the Brady jog?
Out because you knew that he was watching in the locker room like, oh, shit, these guys are good. So, like, he's going over with his coaches, and he does the trot out there, and he's looking intense. And then his very first play, he recaptures the magic with Gronk. I imagine for everybody, even the pros, got to be like, holy shit, he still has it. Like, that's cool. Brady to Gronk one last time.
But it's exactly what you're saying. It's unbelievable. It's Brady to Gronk. Like, there's no denying that. And the other thing is the fact that, like, Gronk moves. Like, I don't want anyone to underestimate that. Gronk could move on that field.
That was my main takeaway. Is like, if he doesn't pull his hammy, I'd love to see how that game played out because Gronk still is unguardable and he still has the gifts. Like, he can go.
Yeah, it's incredible. And especially in flag football where you can't get around, like, you can't play through his body, you can't play contact. So getting around Gronk,
you say
it was
flag
tough.
football, you can't do it. They couldn't do it in the pros.
Yeah, exactly. That's
it's
my
the
point.
single greatest NFL combination there's ever been.
Oof, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice have an argument to that.
Oh, wow,
also.
he's doing sports.
He's got
now.
takes. This guy's got takes, by the way.
Yeah. But I think like you guys should seriously consider Gronk because you can't get physical and. In flag football, the body types are totally different. It's all shorter dudes.
100%.
Like Gronk is such an advantage.
He just did a great thing right there because he's got me thinking now, Rice is the best receiver ever. Gronk, the best tight end ever. Montana,
Mahomes,
second.
Kelsey.
Yeah, those are the three. But when the
Marino
reason,
Clayton, what are we doing?
The reason that I think of
Wait, Dan, I have a question for you. Round out your top five, then.
Nico.
We'll take a little bit of a break. Round out your top five.
Well,
take it for a walk, Dan.
I'm going to go ahead and put Drew Brees to Michael Thomas on there.
Over Jimmy Graham? Fun one. Brees to Graham was unstoppable.
that too. Let me think for a second here, because the thing about Gronk, right? Obviously, Jerry Rice in Montana is unstoppable for a ton of different reasons, but Brady throwing the ball to a spot on Gronk when he's 6'7" is not a guardable play by any human being that's ever existed.
What is happening to us?
Is it? Is it a guardable play? Do you believe if Gronk had played the rest of that game? Do you think it's any different?
I think it's closer for sure. I'm not gonna sit here and like kid with you. I think it's closer. Don't get me wrong, because you even saw like Jalen Hurts was hitting Gronk at ease also. So I think he makes a difference for sure. But I still think that, how do I put this? When we're scoring at the rate we score at, if you saw the championship game, they try to slow the game down, try to keep it in their court, because if you try going score for score with us, eventually we're just gonna outscore you. So I think that's where we would have ended up like breaking apart if Gronk would have played, but I think it's a closer game for sure.
Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates.
That's a good one.
Are there any guys in the NFL that you could see like that guy would be a better flag football? Did they do a good job of getting the right players for this? Like, would Kyler Murray be like a better flag football quarterback than he's thought of as an NFL quarterback?
Lamar Jackson.
I think those two are the obvious ones everyone's going to point to after the game. I also think that there's two, like, something I noticed how much ground Jalen Ramsey covers. So I think, like, Stingley and Surtain are two other ones that could potentially, like, okay, I could see them playing in that game next year. Receiver-wise, I think, man, Devontae Adams, Odell Beckham, like, those are the cream of the crop. Like, yeah, obviously Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, but I think already Adams and Odell are all-timers right there.
With somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's more quick, not as big, but like can be shifty in space.
Well, Tyreek Hill, obviously. Tyreek Hill. Nico, thank you for being on with us, and congratulations.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate
guys.
it. Can we give them a better USA chant? These guys are going to be stars during the Olympics. You might not know them now, but you're about to know them because they're going to make you proud during the Olympics.
We also have a gift for you. We have Nico being able to diagram the play that he threw the post corner.
Okay.
I think he ran.
Well, let's do it.
Can we bring out the telestrator? We have the
telestrator by
here.
way of conclusion here.
Yeah,
let's
let's see.
punctuation. We'll have Nico. We'll use the telestrator. Did you guys tell him to draw a penis?
No, I didn't even lay that trap, but you just did, so he might.
Go ahead. Nobody uses the telestrator correctly. We haven't used it right once. We have this great device in the modern age, and we don't use it correctly. Let's go ahead.
Dan, just blame it on Tony.
Let's go ahead and do this with Nico.
I like this guy.
Let's go ahead and show me the play.
I'm here for the hot takes, too. Not about this, but about NBA specifically, because Tony thinks Concanippo is better than Cooper Flag.
Yeah. He does. He's
okay.
All right, walk us through this.
Famous for it.
Wow, you really cut him off. Did you know that Aaron Judge is older than Anthony Davis? Pretty great.
Let's go ahead and do this.
So, pretty much we ran spread, and we saw how deep Luke Kuechly was here. You can circle it. So,
circle him.
Luke Kuechly's here, and usually in flag football, when you get a spread concept, you usually get some sort of man-to-man. So we knew that Harrison Smith and Hoosh were locked up.
That's it. That is a dick. I'm going to count that. That's a dick.
It's one ball.
Like from the side. From the side.
That's a cock and ball.
Speed, Logan Paul and the center were locked up. And then with the slot receiver and Luke Kuechly being so far back, we knew we could run a triple move on him. So that's what we did. It's called a post-corner post. And that's exactly, PCP. Nice. And that's exactly what we ran.
No one in the NFL is ever that open.
Yeah.
There was nobody within 15 yards of him.
Maybe because Luke Kuechly was playing strong safety.
He was like Unda in that game. Kuechly was upset.
Yeah. Look, there's probably he tried so hard, and he is such, like, that is someone that epitomizes, like, great tackle football. No one here is going to say, like, can speak good, like how good Luke Kuechly
but the
was.
wrong body type for flag.
Yes, 100%.
He was very clearly frustrated, and he does everything 100%,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And emotional. You could tell, like, when he just started grabbing the opposing team as opposed to trying to rip at their flags because he was so frustrated that it got to him.
So Luke Kuechly is really good friends with our media guy. So they were talking in the week leading up to.
That's
Shout out
how
Ryan
we got in the
Anderson. So they have a great relationship, and even Luke, they did a podcast for the Panthers, and even Luke was like, "Yeah, they saw me in the middle of the field, and I knew it was no good after that."
The guy's 20 yards ahead of him, of course.
Thank you, Nico. Appreciate the time and congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.